We recently submitted a Freedom of Information Act request in Collier County, Florida. That's the Naples metropolitan area. The reply from the Collier County Sheriff's Office public information officials is that they cannot release this because it is an open case. Now let me explain something to you guys watching today's video. Every single body cam footage that we see for media purposes is an open case because you request it and demand immediate transparency. This is a public record. You arrested somebody. That's a public record. It isn't some mysterious thing that I'm asking for them. It's something that is a public record. You arrested this guy. We want to see how you arrested this guy. This guy's not a murderer. There's no protected victims in this guy's case. This guy's being arrested for a simple driver's license charge. When you see these media releases of people getting arrested and the body cam footage and the Freedom of Information Act, you think that if you request these things from an agency, you're going to get it? Look, there's something called due process. It means to do things the right way. That's the way the law works. It's a place of law and order in the United States, right? When you have a real request, see, they don't want to show you, you're not going to see a video of how they arrest somebody who's going to get deported. You're not going to see a video of how they treat the homeless people. When they're arresting homeless people, they know they ain't got money for bail, money for a lawyer, they're indigent. They don't treat them the same way they treat you. When it's somebody that is illegal or they want to deport, do you think they give them respect? Do you think they treat them the way they treat you when you get arrested? There are certain types of arrest that they don't want you to see. Now, in the case of this is a simple driver's license arrest. There's no mystery about me requesting a guy getting arrested for a driver's license. There's nothing about this that's mysterious, guys. This is a normal request. Do you really think that these racist law enforcement agencies in Florida are going to show you a video of how they treat an undocumented person getting arrested? Not a chance in the world you're ever going to lay your eyes on that. This is the reality of Freedom of Information Act. They show the media what they want the media to show. Every once in a while, they'll throw a police officer getting arrested into those videos or something like that so that people think there's transparency. But when you really want transparency, when you go on the ground like I do your footwork, find out where the real lack of due process is, and then you request video footage of them doing something wrong, do you really think that these racist law enforcement agencies in Florida are going to allow a YouTuber like me to pull body cam footage of them doing something illicit regarding an illegal immigrant or somebody that they want to deport? Not a chance in the world. They're not going to give a YouTuber like me body cam footage of them arresting somebody under some suspicious circumstances. There's a particular reason why I requested this arrest right here of this individual. I didn't request this body cam footage on random. I know the reason why I requested this particular footage. And this is exactly why they're not going to give it to me. And I'm not going to play their game. To me, their answer was sufficient. They gave me exactly what I wanted for today's video. The opportunity to show you guys that when it comes to types of things that they don't want you to see, you're not going to see it. Their answer is exactly what I wanted for today's video, is to show you guys that there are certain types of arrests you're not going to see. If this guy wasn't Hispanic, if it was just a white guy with a suspended driver's license, I'd have got this video. In Collier County right now, I looked at a day last week where 70% of their arrests were Hispanics. In a county where 70% of the population isn't Hispanic. What does that tell you? It wasn't like that in Collier County many years ago. That's what they're becoming now. There are days right now in Collier County where 70% of the people being arrested are Hispanic. I know some of these people in these photos. Do you really think that they're going to show you footage of how they arrest and detain somebody for not having a valid driver's license when they're Hispanic? Let me tell you something. The particular type of charge that this individual has is a type of charge where he had a valid driver's license, but the police officer determined that the valid driver's license that the person had wasn't being used the way the state of Florida wants him to use it. In other words, very simple explanation, The state of Washington or Illinois will issue you a driver's license to work. Now, if you're visiting Florida from Illinois or Washington, your driver's license is technically valid and they have to acknowledge it. But in the case of the state of Florida, they're going to say, hold on now. We don't think this license is valid if the person's Hispanic. So this is why this individual likely got detained. He could have had a valid Mexican or Guatemalan driver's license, for example, that they have to acknowledge because he has legal entry into the country, but they still want to arrest him for it. In other words, this is hand selecting who they want to arrest. They're not going to show you this, and I knew they weren't going to show us this footage. I knew for a fact when I requested this footage, they weren't going to show it. This is in Collier County, Florida. I lived in this county for like 20 years of my life. There was one year where they detained me 56 times in one single year. 52 times, I'm sorry, in a single year. That's once a week. That's how many times they would detain you in Collier County. If you're Hispanic in Naples, they don't want you there. They're always harassing you. They're always bothering you. If you're working like a slave or a servant, they don't bother you. But if you're like me, fishing, recording videos, and doing stuff like what I do, they're going to be bothering you all the time. These are all footages of when I lived back in Naples. And it's not all of them. It's some of them. Every time you did something, you had to deal with cops coming and bothering you, harassing you. If you're a white person in Naples, you've never been bothered once. It's police profiling. But this is the type of thing they don't want you to see. And I'm not surprised they're not showing me this footage. Not in the least bit. I knew they weren't going to show it to me. But what I want to show you guys, my audience, is the reality that if you request something and it isn't the type of thing they want you to request, you're not going to see it. How they treat migrants, how they treat homeless people, how they treat somebody when they perceive that that person is an easy victim of lack of due process isn't the way they treat you. I know their system in Naples very well. 20 years of my life being profiled by them, and not a single time they were able to arrest me. You think after they pulled me over hundreds of times with the intention of catching me breaking the law to detain me and ruin my life, and they were never able to do it. Do you think there's a little bit of resentment on their part that they profiled me, tried to ruin my life, and I outsmarted them and they were never able to do it? You think there's a little bit of resentment? Because I was destined to have my life ruined. When I went to school in Naples, from elementary, middle to high school, they told me the rest of your life is going to be in prison. You're never going to be anybody. And here I am today making more money than the teachers who told me that. So the reality is, when they destined for you to be something and you beat the odds, now they're even more mad at you because what you're doing isn't what they intended for you to be doing. They spent all their time down there trying to make it seem like I was the bad person, trying to inflict upon me criminal penalties, trying to incriminate me. They were never able to do it. Now, I'm the one saying, hey, what's this? Why Collier County, Florida? And I don't give a crap about your reply because I don't want to hear it. I already know your system. I know why you're not giving it to me. I know your system and I'm not interested in your reply. I'm letting my audience know right now. Request a body cam footage of a police officer arresting a migrant. See if you're going to get it. In theory, it's a public record. If you arrested somebody, I don't care if they're legal or illegal, if you arrest somebody, that's a public record that you can request and view. What reason is there for Collier County, Florida, not to give me body cam footage of somebody being arrested for a simple valid driver's license charge? Come on now. We know the reason. It's straightforward. This isn't a homicide investigation. This isn't a national security threat. This isn't freaking bin Laden. This is a guy that doesn't have a driver's license. You're telling me I can't get this footage because it's an open case? I'm not playing their game. I know what their game is and I'm not playing it. The purpose of today's video is that I got their email reply showing you the reason why they're not showing me this video, and that cost me less than requesting the body cam footage. This is the reality of Collier County, Florida. If you really want to see something that you're not supposed to, you ain't gonna see it. Where there's nothing to hide, there's nothing to fear. I request body cam footage from Sarasota and I get it in 2 weeks. Manatee County, on the other hand, now have we ever seen a homeless person tell me on my videos that there's a due process issue with Sarasota County? Never. Have we had it with Manatee County? Absolutely. We requested body cam footage back in October in Manatee County. This is the email I got 11 days ago. At the current rate, it's going to take over a year for the Manatee County Sheriff's Office to cough up a video of how they arrested a homeless person on a sidewalk. Do you think that's by mistake? Do you think they can't hire more people? The email says that we don't have enough workers. Do you really think that's the real case? The notion of transparency when it comes to the way the law moves is a joke. When you see police officers beating up a black guy, it's because those police officers gave that footage to the media and they were already going to get rid of those police officers. They knew the drama that came with it. Those are select cases. Every once in a while, they gotta throw somebody underneath the bus to make it seem like they're doing what they're supposed to. But in reality, the general scope of due process issues in the state of Florida, you are never going to get accountability. Don't even waste your time. Somebody getting arrested is a public record. You can request it. I'm not asking them to bend over for me. I'm asking them to do something that is a public record. The law stipulates that it's a public record and you can request it. But do you really think these racist law enforcement agencies are going to really send me a video of them arresting somebody for no driver's license? Come on now. Come on now. Half the time these police officers demand money from the people that they're arresting. Half the time they ask them if they have a title for the vehicle in the glove box. Come on now. You think I don't know how they move? After living down there for 20 years, you think I don't know how these people move down there in Naples? You think I don't know that I wasn't going to get this footage? I knew I wasn't going to get this footage. But there's the email confirming it. And you know what? At least they're being straightforward about the fact you're not going to get it because, they're not giving me the long-term runaround. They know they're not going to show it to you. They're letting you know they're not going to show it to you. It's a public record. They have to show it to you. It's a public record. It's a person getting arrested. There's no secrecy about somebody getting arrested. And by the way, this is Immokalee, Florida. They just killed somebody there last night. Collier County is out of control. I'm so glad I left behind that county. I wouldn't want to live there with their police profiling. It's you can't even enjoy life. After living in this county, if there's any lawyers watching today's video, I've been trying to figure this situation out. Every time that they arrest you, they have to make a contact form, I'm sure. I would love to know how many times these agencies in Naples contacted me on paper. And they were never able to detain me. It's a paper trail of their own, profiling. I've been trying to get that. It exists. Trying to get that to show you guys. Even if I can't sue them, just to show you guys the reality of what I'm telling you. Do you think that exists? Yes. Do you think they're going to show it to me? Absolutely not. The year that I went to Gulf Coast High School, and again, I know there's people watching, and I'm putting this information out there in case somebody watching knows the answer to these questions, because they're difficult questions and not the average person is going to know. The year that I went to Gulf Coast High School, I think they expelled like 60% of the black students were expelled from Gulf Coast High School the year that I would have been there in 9th grade. What does that tell you? It's clear. People talk about do things the right way, come here illegally. Okay, but that's not the issue. The issue isn't that we're doing something wrong. The issue here is when you're doing things the right way, why are you still going after me? Pretty straightforward. The reality of Florida is if you think you're going to get a body cam footage of how they're treating migrant people and people that they want to deport, it's not going to happen. These are the types of things you're not going to see. And, by the way, here's the real question. The real lack of due process here is that they're telling me that the reason they can't do it is because it's an open case. But we're requesting this footage because we know you're moving illegitimately. In the case of this particular person, he may not have been doing something wrong, but they're accusing him of it, and they could probably deport this guy before we have a chance to review what really happened and if the individual actually did something wrong leading to his deportation, which is what I've been trying to tell you guys for a while. That it isn't that people don't come here the legal way, they don't do things the right way. It's the fact that even if you do things the right way, they still find a way to get you. And that's the real issue, that a lot of people don't want to even face the reality of the situation, that there are people that are doing things the right way and then they jam you up like this. See, they're saying that it's an open case, we can't do this because it's an open case. On the driver's license charge, by the way, but it's not the end of the world. Why? It's not a homicide investigation. You didn't kill nobody. They don't want you to see it because they know that you could possibly expose their wrongdoing, and then the other option is to do it after the case closes, and by then the person could have possibly got deported even though he didn't do anything wrong. See, that's the thing. They still get their way no matter what. And that's why, like I tell you, it's irrelevant. It's pointless to go after it. I'm not going to go out of my way to get this footage. I just saw it, requested it. I knew it would be interesting, and I'm not surprised that this is their answer. Many of these law enforcement agencies in Florida right now are not giving you the accountability you want. And they have lost to jam people up. Like this case right here is a perfect example of an illegitimate arrest backed up by SB 1718. If you know the full text of the law, you know where I'm going at. It's the fact that his driver's license is likely valid and acknowledged in every state in the United States except for the state of Florida. And even though it's in their law books, if you were to look at this video, you could probably figure out by watching it that maybe the homie didn't do anything wrong. They just wanted to jam him up needlessly. And that's why they don't want to show you this footage. But at the end of the day, like I said, not surprised. This is how they move.